Welcome to your heart and hip opening yin yoga practice. Before we begin, I've got a few different props that I want to show you because it might be helpful for this particular practice. You'll notice that I'm on a hardwood floor. So I've put on top of my yoga mat, I've put a nice fluffy blanket. That way I'm going to be really comfortable. And sometimes when we're on wood and we're in colder months, you can actually feel like the cold is coming up through the floor. So this way I always use a blanket for yin because that way I feel like I'm going to be much more comfortable. As always, my dog is here, so you'll see his little ears. I've got a rolled up towel. This is just a normal bath towel that I've rolled up to be quite small. So the way I would suggest you do it, if you don't have any blocks, is just fold your towel in half and then long ways in half and then simply roll it up. That'll go probably the length of your spine. So if you want to go a little shorter, which some of you might, long ways again, and then roll it up. And that's going to be similar to having a block. Okay, so make sure you've got a towel or a block handy. I've also got a couple of different couch cushion pillows handy, and I've also got a blanket. You can never be having too many props in a yin yoga class. So I'll let you get your props together. And if you are watching this on the replay, then you can always pause. As with any practice, when we're moving, because there's a little bit of yang movement in this class, never push through pain. Always ease off and don't try to copy me. Simply listen to my cues and allow your body to move into the shape that it's going to naturally move into. Now, there is a difference between pain and discomfort in a yin class. We're looking for the discomfort, but to stay right on the edge of that. We're not pushing through anything, unless, of course, you've decided that today's the day that you're going to allow the body to move a little deeper. Only you can decide if today's the day or not. Never, ever hold pain because you'll find that you can't breathe. So having said that, let's begin our practice. Come into an easy pose, Sukhanasana. I'm in a cross-legged position, but this might not be so easy for you. So that's where you might want to grab a couple of couch cushions and put them under your knees. You might even want to sit like this with your legs slightly bent with cushions underneath. And in this position, whatever you choose, we're going to take 3 gentle breaths together, and I want you to silently say the sound Om, universal sound. Om to yourself as you breathe out. So hands palms up, roll the shoulders back and down. Take a long, slow, deep breath in through the nose. And as you breathe out very quietly, silently repeat the word Om to yourself. Breathing in through the nose. Breathing out silently, Om. One more, breathing in. Breathing out, silently repeating the word Om to yourself. Palms turning over, bowing the head. Let all of your awareness center into the center of the heart space. For the practice today is to open the heart, and I'll be using some quotes from a very famous yogi teacher, Yogi Bhajan. And he says, all good facets of the being are through compassion, and that is the heart center. It is the beauty, it is the dignity, it is the ecstasy of the human being. Breathe in as you hold those words. Breathe out as we make our way onto the floor for our very first yin-yang practice. So we're moving quite slowly in this practice, but it's still yin. Okay. Reaching the arms outwards, make sure you're nice and comfortable, and then roll your knees to the right. Breathe in, let your left arm float high, and then breathe out, let the palms touch. Breathe in, left arm floats high, Breathe out, opening up, looking towards the left hand. Breathe in, float high. Breathing out, floating over. So let's continue in this way. Just the arm moving, allowing an opening into the twist. The head is soft. Moving just with your breath, not pushing or going too fast. One more time. On this next exhalation, we're going to stay here and allow the body to come into stillness. We've got about a minute or two here. Keep the knees and ankles together as much as you can and see if you can relax the legs. Naturally, you might find that the feet move apart or the knees move apart, and that's okay. You might find at one stage, if you want to go a little deeper, you can take the right foot and send it on top of the left knee. We've got plenty of time here in this position, so you don't have to go into that extended stretch just yet. Breathing deeply. Another option is to hold the outside of the left knee, and then you'll get a slightly deeper stretch into the lower back. Your yin practice can be most difficult in the mind. So give yourself an anchor or a focus and stay with that focus for the entire posture. So in this position, it could be just noticing the breath moving through the nose. Or you might want to focus on the belly rising and falling with each breath. Just another 2 breaths here. And then we'll move to the other side. So whatever twist position you're in, undo it all. So if you've got your hand on your leg, undo. If you've got your ankle crossed on the knee, undo. And then very gently come back to center. Let the head look up directly towards the ceiling. And let's stay here for one deep breath in, belly rise. And belly fall. Rolling the knees over to the left. Lifting the right arm up. Breathing out, float the right hand to meet the left. Breathing in, rise. Breathing out, opening. Breathing in, rise. Breathing out. Breathing in, rise. Breathing out, opening. As you do this, just notice which parts of the stretch feel really good. I know that when I practice and I do some yang movement, it's almost like my body is just willing to get to the yin part where we come into stillness. Let's do this one more time. And as you exhale, settle in to the opening. 2 minutes here. We've got plenty of time. You don't have to go into anything fancy. Just let the body soften. And again, find that anchor for your mind. Is it the belly rising and falling? Or have you got the focus just on the nostrils as the air moves in and out? You can cross the left ankle on top of the right knee, or you can hold on to the outside of the right leg. Whatever works. At the beginning of your practice, you might find that your mind is really busy. So if you expect that, then it won't be surprising. Keep trusting that as we breathe, as we stretch and move, eventually we're training the mind to relax and give a little bit more space between each thought. Two more breaths. And then start to undo any of your binds, and then walking your feet back to the center, head looking directly towards the ceiling. Let's do a nice full body stretch here. Pointing the toes, reaching the hands as far away from the body as possible, and just relax, let go. One more time. Stretching, pointing the toes, and let go. Good. Roll onto one side and then come on up to a seated position. Now you're going to need a block or a rolled up towel for this next one. I'm going to use a rolled up towel. This is going to go from the base of the neck down through the middle of the spine. It's going to lift you up quite high so it opens up through the chest. You might want to take a couple of cushions or blocks to have under your knees. Keep the legs straight. If you want to go into a butterfly position with your feet, you can. Butterfly is where the soles of feet touch. However, spoiler alert, we are going to be doing that at the end, so don't worry, we will get there. So for now, if you'd like to extend the legs, roll down so that the towel is about at the mid-back, and it'll open up and lift you up through the chest. Now this could feel quite high, and if it does feel too high, because your back of the head is wanting to touch the floor, all you have to do, if you're using a rolled up towel, is kind of unroll it just by one or two rolls, and then you can naturally adjust the height and how much your chest will lift and open. It can be very strong if you're not used to it. So just be gentle, take your time. You can work up to it. So I have, just so you know, I don't have anything under the neck. If that feels just too much for you, grab a cushion and place it under your head, all right? Now, because I can't see you, you need to go with what feels best for your body, not what you can see me doing on the screen. So when we've made our final adjustments, come into stillness. Take a long, slow, deep breath in and relax. Have the arms out as wide as feels comfortable. You might feel a little tension across the top of the pec muscles. And for the next few minutes, I want you to ponder these words by Yogi Bhajan. The greatest lesson on earth is humility, which opens the heart. You cannot open your heart by the power of the cannon, but with a few humble, sweet words, it can open forever. Let's stay in this space of all our attention on the heart. Notice if you're holding on to any tightness in your muscles in your back. And see if you can soften, relax the shoulders. Relax the upper back and middle back. And be aware of your belly rising and falling with each gentle breath. If your mind does wander, it's okay. Just bring it back to focusing on the body. Or if your thoughts are pleasant, then stay with them. If your thoughts are busy, just come back in and notice what you can feel in your body. And step by step, we're training the mind to become more quiet. Over and over, we keep returning our attention to what we can feel or how we're breathing. And it's this returning to ourselves, our own presence over and over, that is the path of the yogi. Staying present just in this moment. You're going to start to move out of this pose now. I want you to take your time, lifting up or rolling to one side, moving the towel away. I want you to hug yourself. Wrap your hands around to hold on to the opposite shoulder blade. Bend the knees. And then hug the knees into chest. Good, rolling onto one side and coming all the way up. Let's hang out here just for a moment. Keep a pillow nearby because you might need it for the next posture. And let's stay here for 3 gentle breaths as we just become aligned again, sitting upright after being laying down. We move slowly in this practice. And I promise it's not to infuriate you. It is to teach you to honor how the body responds to different movements, to being upright, to being laying down. It's something in this busy world that we don't do. We often don't honor ourselves. We don't give ourselves enough time, enough breaks, enough segments. And this practice is really designed to help give you that time and space. So only when you feel comfortable, let's come over onto hands and knees. And just a few cat and cow movements here. So hands with fingers spread nice and wide. Breathing in, arching the back and looking up, keeping the arms straight. Breathing out, tuck the tailbone under, rounding through the spine, looking towards your knees. Breathing in, looking up. Breathing out, rounding. 2 more times, breathing in, looking up, breathing out, rounding. Last one. Good. Coming into swan. In yin, we call it swan. In hatha, we call it pigeon. Right knee towards the right hand, and then slide the left leg backwards. This is where you might want to use a cushion underneath the right buttock. That might just make the pose more available to you. If that feels okay, I'm going to invite you to start to come down onto your forearms. There's a variation that I'll teach you now that might be completely unavailable to you, and that's okay. It's something to work towards in the next few months or maybe never. Your right leg is in front, so your left arm is going to thread underneath and coming over onto your left shoulder. This requires a lot of flexibility in the knee joint, and as I said, it might be way too tough for you. So let's stay here if it's okay. If not, you can simply stay on your elbows or upright. Just another minute or so. And as you find that place of stillness, I'll offer another quote for you to ponder. Let me be kind to those who have been unkind to me. Let me love those who have hated me. Let me serve those who have betrayed me. Let me pray for those who have denied me. But be with me ever, 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 unto infinity. And as you might be stretching through behind the heart space, we often say that the back of the heart space holds the memories of our past. And as we ponder those words about being compassionate in thought and mind towards those who have hurt us, and we breathe deeply, we might be able to let some of that pain and hurt go. It's definitely something to ponder, isn't it, as we stay in this quite bound position. We're going to come out slowly. If you are in your bind with your thread the needle, come back up onto your elbows. And we'll move up in 3 stages. Coming up ever so lightly, keep the arms bent. And then move on to the right buttock and hip. And then coming all the way out. Back into a kneeling position. 3 breaths in melting heart, reaching the hands out in front, bottom high in the air, forehead to the floor. Breathing in, breathing out. Getting a beautiful stretch deep into the shoulders, arching the back a little, getting deep into the middle of the back. Good. Coming up and coming onto swan on the left side. So left knee towards the left wrist, sliding out with the right leg. And again, if you want to stay in this position, that's okay. Or threading the needle now, the right shoulder towards the floor. Now, depending on what your knees are doing, this might feel really good or it might be challenging. Let's stay with this presence. Wherever you can feel it, that's where you're supposed to be feeling it. If you've gone all the way into your thread the needle and you find that it's just too much, then simply come back up onto your forearms. It might not be the day for you to stay in that spot for too long, but maybe tomorrow, if you practice, you might be able to stay there 2 more breaths. Again, never push through pain, just enjoying the process of allowing the body to release and let go. We'll move out of this pose now, coming up just onto your elbows if you're in that bind and thread the needle, and coming up by a third each time. Not forcing, not pushing, just giving yourself that space and time to come out onto one side. Bring the knees back, pointing in the same direction. And again, just a couple breaths back in, melting heart. Bottom high in the air, forehead towards the floor. You might want to go a little deeper now and put the chin onto the floor. It's quite strong into the back. And coming all the way back up. In the next posture, we'll go into child pose. Feel free to place a pillow between the bottom and the heels, and then reach forward, bowing over the top of your knees. Walk your hands over to the right side of your mat. You'll get a nice deep stretch down the left side of the body. Don't forget to breathe. We're going to stay here for 4 breaths. Belly expands. Feel your body rise on the in-breath. And release on the exhale. Feel the body soften. 2 more. Coming back to center. And then come all the way over. Breathing in, belly rise. Breathing out, belly fall. Two more breaths. And coming out. Give your arms a little shake. Hold onto your wrists if that's comfortable to do so. And then lift up the chest. Lift up your gaze. Just a little counter pose here. Beautiful. Let's make our way to the floor just for our final postures. So have your cushions handy. In the next posture, if you've only got a towel, that's okay. You can use the towel. I'm going to use a block. Lower down onto your back. Block or towel will go under your lower part of your spine, just on the edge of where your waistband is. So you've got most of the buttock area being supported by the towel, the rolled up towel or the block. We call this part of the hips or the pelvis the sacrum. So that's the part that we want to be being supported by the block. This is called supported bridge. Take a long, slow, deep breath in. Let the belly rise. And as you breathe out, let the belly fall back. You might want to stay here in this position with your hands by your side, or you could open your arms up as wide as feels comfortable, or bend the arms into what we call goalposts. You can even extend one leg out to feel a stretch right through the hip flexor. And if it feels good for your back, there's a lot of pressure here, so it might not feel good for your lower spine, but you can extend both legs out as well. Just see what works, and it is totally okay to do one leg at a time. Keep your focus on your breath, letting the belly rise and fall as you breathe in and out. Last breath, and as you exhale, bring your legs back so that your knees are bent, your feet are on the floor. Lift up your hips, take the block away, you won't need that anymore. And as promised, we're finishing with the reclining butterfly pose. Soles of feet to touch. Rest your legs on the pillows, or if you want to go a little deeper, you don't need the pillows, but just see how you're feeling at this point. Sometimes it can be very intense. Take your hands so that they're resting on your hips and let your elbows sit out to the side. I'm going to breathe here for 5 gentle breaths as we finish the practice. Breathing in gently and out. The last quote that I want to share with you from Yogi Bhajan is, the heart center means warmth, compassion, kindness, passion, everything which is wonderful in the world. It also means hatred. It's everything which is rotten on the planet. Everything comes from the heart. But love is a total state of tolerance. Total tolerance is love. Breathing gently here as we open the heart, as we put ourselves into a vulnerable place. We're opening up the softness of our heart space and of our belly, of our hips. Allowing our body to find rest as it's supported here on the mat. As we're surrendering with each out breath, coming back into ourselves more and more. And you are welcome to stay in this position as long as feels comfortable. But I'll close the practice now by rolling onto my left side. You're welcome to join me, just like you'd roll over in bed. And then coming up, back into easy pose. Just like we started the class, we'll finish. But if your legs are crossed, I want you to switch non-dominant leg in front. Just teaches us to change our position. It helps to change how we sit. It helps to focus and sharpen our mind. Breathing in, all the way in, and then hold at the top for 3, 2, and 1. Breathe out, all the way out, and hold at the bottom of the breath for 3, for 2, and 1. Breathing in, hands to the heart space. Breathing out, bowing the head. Closing with my prayer of thanks. Thumbs to the forehead, giving thanks for purity of thought. Thumbs to the lips, giving thanks for purity of speech. And thumbs to the heart space, giving thanks for purity of heart that comes through finding stillness. Namaste, and thank you for joining me in the practice today.